Why is it so important to address the climate and nature emergencies together?
Just look at the Committee on Climate Change's balanced net zero pathway. What you'll see is a huge amount of negative emissions technologies, ways that we're going to find to suck CO2 out of the air. And virtually all of those, 95% of them, are based on a particular technology called BECCS, biomass energy with carbon capture and storage. And that's why we have to think about bringing broad ecological issues with climate change together, because the ecological impacts of the levels of monocropped biomass growth and harvesting and transport that would be necessary to deliver anything approaching the amount of negative emissions that are reliant on this technology in the models would be devastating ecologically. You're talking about possibly up to the size of 3 times size of India being planted to give you something around about the median level of negative emission technologies assumed in the IPCC scenarios. Our reductionist way of thinking means that experts on carbon don't think about the broader ecological impacts. And probably quite often, experts on other broader ecological impacts don't necessarily think about the impacts on carbon. We have to think of these things together.
I think also the UN system doesn't help because, you have these conventions that are very separate. So the Biological Diversity Convention has never really been kind of linked up with the Framework Convention on Climate Change. And it's incredibly hard to get these cross-convention things going. Working groups don't really cut it. You need actual proper cross-convention linkages that carry some teeth so that governments are signing up to something a little bit more integrated.
The opportunity that both the climate crisis and the biodiversity, the nature crisis present us with is rethinking our sense of what it means to be human beings on a finite planet, rethinking our sense of what it means to be well on that planet. Beyond the consumer society and the materialism of endless growth lies a richness that we can only as yet glimpse, a place where our lives are healthier, where our relationships are stronger, where our environment is intact, and indeed where our sense of hope for the future is something on which we can rely.